Richard Montgomery High School is a 311,500 square foot building that uses a lot of electricity, mostly through lighting the school. Because the school day is 8 hours long, it takes a considerable amount of energy to power the lights throughout the school every day. RM also hosts many after-school events that in turn require the school to keep their lights on. It is easy to underestimate the environmental impact of a utility that is so vital to our day-to-day lives. Most people are not aware of the impact that excessive electricity use has on the environment. Producing 8 hours of light requires 0.006 metric tons of carbon dioxide, which is the equivalent of consuming 0.013 barrels of oil. While our school uses 32-watt Sylvania fluorescent light bulbs to increase light efficiency, the heavy usage of these bulbs still entails a heavy carbon footprint. A carbon footprint quantifies the amount of carbon dioxide and other carbon compounds emitted. In our project, we designed and carried out fieldwork at Richard Montgomery High School to determine the impact of potentially extraneous school lights on our carbon footprint. After gathering and evaluating this data, we discussed potential solutions to lessen the school's overall carbon footprint. First, we counted the number of fluorescent lighting panels in the hallways of Richard Montgomery. We purposely chose to omit the lighting panels in classrooms from our count because a reliable source of lighting in classrooms is required to have a successful learning environment. We also omitted counts for lighting panels in the bathrooms as we felt reliable lighting was also essential there. We instead chose to include lighting panels in our counts that were from shared transitional spaces, namely the hallways and Main Street. We felt that either reducing or eliminating the number of lights in shared transitional spaces such as hallways would be appropriate because students spend considerably less time in hallways and therefore do not require such extensive lighting. Therefore, we collected data on the fluorescent lighting in these areas of the school to evaluate the potential energy savings from reducing such light. Our findings were as following. In the basement, there were 68 fluorescent panels in the hallway. On the first floor, there were 121 fluorescent panels in the hallway. On the second floor, there were 87 panels, and on the third floor, there were 85 panels. Please note that each panel includes 2 fluorescent bulbs. After collecting this data, we then calculated the carbon footprint for the continuous 8-hour usage of these panels. We decided to collect the data for an 8-hour time span because a normal school day is around 8 hours. Although there are often other activities after school that require lighting, these needs are varied and difficult to predict. Therefore, we thought it would be best for our investigation to only cover lighting usage during the day, which remains constant.
RM's basement uses 68 fluorescent panels, or 136 bulbs. At 8 hours a day, this means that each 32-watt bulb uses 256 wattage hours in a day, which is a total of 34.816 kilowatts for all of the bulbs. 34.816 kilowatts of electricity is equivalent to approximately 0.025 metric tons of carbon dioxide. RM's first floor uses 121 fluorescent panels, or 242 bulbs. Using the same calculations for hours of lighting, wattage, and the kilowatts to carbon dioxide conversion, RM's first floor uses 0.044 metric tons of carbon dioxide for 8 hours of lighting. RM's second floor and third floor use approximately 0.031 and 0.031 metric tons of carbon dioxide, respectively. These kilowatts to carbon dioxide conversions are approximations that were calculated by using formulas from the United States Environmental Protection Agency. These add up to a total of 0.131 metric tons a day for 8 hours of lighting the school's hallways.
Clearly, these lights are using a significant amount of energy and are a major part of our school's carbon footprint. By calculating these figures, we gain a better understanding of how our school uses energy. There are various ways that Richard Montgomery can reduce the number of lights used. One method is to increase the number of skylights on the third floor. Natural lighting will eliminate some of the need for electrical lighting. Another possibility would be eliminating certain fluorescent panels in hallways altogether, or replacing them with bulbs that use electricity more efficiently. The broad picture implications of this investigation are clear. If more organizations and companies make the effort to investigate the contributing factors of their own carbon footprint, they may be surprised by the large amount of energy needed to power lighting. Generating electricity increases our carbon footprint, which takes a significant toll on the environment. If more studies of this nature are conducted, we can gain knowledge as to how to reduce excessive carbon emissions that stem from electrical lighting. Electricity generation in the United States comes mainly from coal and natural gases. These two production techniques make up 76% of electricity generation in the U.S. So when Richard Montgomery High School uses electricity, in essence, carbon dioxide is emitted into the environment from the coal and natural gases that were used to generate the electricity. This forms a part of the carbon cycle. It is natural for carbon to be emitted into the air. Carbon naturally aids in photosynthesis and travels through a process known as the carbon cycle. However, carbon in excess causes a phenomenon known as global warming. The emission of carbon, a greenhouse gas, in excess will collect in the atmosphere and will prevent UV rays from the sun from bouncing back into space. Because these UV rays remain trapped in the atmosphere, the overall global temperature increases, which causes a catastrophic effect on ecosystems and environments worldwide. Increasing awareness of carbon footprinting and calculating a carbon footprint for Richard Montgomery's lighting helps us to address these problems, propose solutions, and reduce carbon emissions. This study could be expanded by investigating the fluorescent lighting used in classrooms and by calculating the carbon emissions for lighting outside of the school day. We could also expand the study by comparing different brands of fluorescent bulbs with the Sylvania bulbs that Richard Montgomery currently uses.